Alan Jones at 8 o'clock every night on Sky, but I know he's with me on Monday and he's as fired up as anyone today on the lockdowns and everything else. I made mention at the top of the show, Alan, about what's happening in Singapore. A very good market. They've kept the virus under control, 35 deaths only. We're well over 900 here. They are a good litmus test because they have decided now, vaccinate and open up their economy. They're going to learn to live with this thing and they have a plan. We actually don't have a plan. That's the problem.
Well, you're 100% correct. I mean, Singapore have announced now, the Trade Minister and the Health Minister, it will be treated as a normal flu. There will be no daily announcement of cases, which is driving Australians absolutely nuts. There will be no goals in terms of transmissions and no talk of zero transmissions. And they've made it quite clear that this is something we've got to learn to live with, and they're going to tell people, I mean, for example, this business in Sydney at the moment about close contact and all those people who were in close contact with Marshall have had to isolate for 2 weeks. There will be no isolation for anyone who comes within close contact. Now, if Singapore, the model, is to mean anything, I just despair that people in Australia at all levels of government only take the advice from the bureaucrats that they've been listening to for 18 months, and much of that advice is not world-class advice. So here is Singapore, a model in terms of how to handle the coronavirus. There'll be no daily announcement of cases. There'll be no goals in terms of transmission, zero transmission. No one will be forced to isolate. We'll treat it, they said, like a normal flu, and society will have to learn to live with it because it's not going to go away. Now, where do we stand in relation to that, Peter? That's the problem.
Part of me thinks that there are governments, particularly at a state level, that are loving the money that's coming from Canberra, that are loving the paralysis of the agenda. There's no accountability for all the things they promised they'd do and haven't done. We're not putting them under pressure for all the other things we expect governments to do. The focus is daily on this issue. They've got their oppositions cowed. There's no opposition. Oxygen, parliaments have been sitting spasmodically last year, a little bit more this year. The ball is in the court of the incumbent, and they're giving that up very, very reluctantly, I think, for political purposes. You've got to wonder whether they actually want to get life back to normal.
Well, I mean, if you can continue to prosecute this fear and alarmism and hysteria, then you've got control. And I think these people love the control. They love the daily attention that comes to them. What has the National Cabinet achieved? You tell me. Absolutely nothing, except bypassing the appropriate cabinet process. And now we've got Gladys Berejiklian said, oh, those terrible people in Victoria, there won't be any lockdowns here. We've got to learn to live with lockdowns. The first blush of grape shot, and suddenly vaccination means nothing. Here are people living like battery hens, whether you're fully vaccinated, whether you've never been anywhere near someone with it, whether you actually are living miles away from where there might be a problem. Doesn't matter. You're locked down. The whole one is treated as everyone. None of it makes sense, and I'm bewildered if these people think they're going to get away with it, because I believe they won't. I think the public are waking up. They're a lot smarter. They've had a gut full of these daily announcements of cases. Now, today in Australia, 99.6% of the cases are mild. One is serious. One. And we've now got in a federation and a Commonwealth of Australia, every state locked off from every other state. I'll tell you what, if the public don't wake up to that, eh? Sorry.
Just explain this one to me. Why are older Australians, our most vulnerable, having to have the AZ jab? No choice. They wait then 12 weeks between jab 1 and jab 2. So they wait 3 months before they're fully vaccinated, therefore fully protected. But you could be a fit 44-year-old and you can have a Pfizer jab within 3 weeks. You're fully vaccinated and you're fully protected. Now, if we're serious, if it's all about saving lives, why aren't we going for broke with older Australians and saying to them, you can have whatever vaccination you want. If you want Pfizer, you have Pfizer.
Absolutely.
Because Pfizer, forget all the risks about blood clots. Pfizer at least makes you fully protected in a 3-week period as opposed to 3 months. I don't understand it. I'm going to hope it's not about the money.
I'd go a step further, Peter, and just say, forget all these restrictions about vaccination. If you want to be vaccinated, if you're 5, 15, 25 or 50, you can be vaccinated. People don't know, what age group am I in? When am I eligible? Which application do I have to fill out? How many forms have I got to manage? If you want to be vaccinated, turn up here, here and here and there'll be vaccine doses. Now, Gladys Berejiklian says that there are a whole stack of GB clinics which don't have enough vaccine. There are other private clinics which say, righto, we've got vaccines everywhere and no one wants to use them. Now, I'm simply saying it's failed. We've got to have 5%, for God's sake, 5% of the elderly population are vaccinated. It's absurd. Why don't we just say to people, here's where you get vaccinated, no matter what age you are, get into it and go for it.